Good morning, guys. Welcome to this Wednesday, May 13th. And market is right back up again. So yesterday's sell-off was a pretty big scare, but it massively massive retracement on that one right away. That's pretty amazing to see how that happens. We'll see if we can hold on to it though, but for a second there, I thought it was a little bit more aggressive than what we saw here. from yesterday's sell-off. They ran it down to that 7360s. They stalled there, and that's pretty much where. And from there, they retraced, and then just retraced a little bit and stalled in a range, waiting for more news to come out. They just ran it all the way back up again. The ES took out the day session highs, and the overnight right back up again. So we may find ourselves in a price discovery to the upside again pretty quick. So that is kind of where we are right now on the ES. So yesterday's trading definitely scared the bejesus out of us, at least for a second there, but then now it's right back up again. We'll see if they can hold on to it. It doesn't necessarily mean they will, but the market is still, it is pretty strong move late in the session yesterday. News we have for today is we had the mortgage apps come out in the morning. It's kind of a mixed bag, not much going on that one. We have PPI number coming out at 8:30. Margins are already up. We have an oil report at 10:30 and a 30-year auction at 1. So really, it's like the PPI number at 8:30 and 30-year auction at 1. So the PPI is going to tell a story about the producer level inflation, and if that's a hot number, market could be reacting negatively to it. Yesterday's print on the CPI was higher. It was in line with expectations, but it's a high print, so inflation is on the rise. But we all know why. It's all about the oil prices trickling through. So anyone with a half a brain will realize that, yeah, it's not just wide open inflation, or inflation just running wild. They have a very specific reason for it: energy inflation. And as soon as that changes, and that that conflict is taken care of, that this whole thing is going to come crashing down in a big way. I think it's taking longer than I thought, but it's then again, I mean, we have how many days into this? They started this end of February, so it's not that long, and it's we're dealing. I guess they're dealing with a group of people which is going to take it right into the very very end. So we will see, but. Right this week, right now, as you paid attention to the news, Trump is in China doing it's a big deal going on there, big meeting. So I doubt something's going to happen until he gets back. But it's this weekend could be one of those uh, weekends to pay attention to. I would not be surprised if the market takes some profit before the weekend in anticipation of some hostilities kicking in. So then anyway, that's my thoughts. So the news we have at 8:30, PPI can definitely move the market. It could. I don't think it's going to be flat out sell off or anything like that. It could be volatile. We could see some weakness building on that. If it's a really bad print, yeah, we may have a little bit more weakness than you want. We may have a risk off day again, but it's a number which usually people pay more attention to the CPI than the PPI, assuming that the manufacturer and so on and so forth are going to absorb some of the PPI inflation in case it's if it's a high number. But we will see how the whole thing shakes out. Right now, we are up way up to the highs, and I would just start off range bound. I would stay on the I would favor the long side still. But as you said yesterday in this whole week, we emphasized we've been in a move out of the middle to the upside. This day, the Friday here cut off the buying. Monday, sorry, this is Monday. Monday cut off the buying. Said Tuesday cut off the selling. It looks like so we have it like we have two edges right here, and then marked right back up testing this upper edge. Now, if the market keeps going, we'll be right back in stage one again. So that's the little caveat here. But if they don't, if they can't take out the highs here in any meaningful way, we'll be back in stage three and building value. So those are the two options in front of us. So, but we have a range. We have a high, we have a low, and now we're going to see where the market is going to go from here. So starting off, favoring the long side, looking to buy weakness, and I would do that all the way down. Let me pull this on back in the bigger picture again. I would do that all the way down here to where is it, like 72, 74.20s, 74.20s, 74.10s. So these are the two areas really which has to hold. I'll give it a little bit of range, given that they had this crazy day yesterday. So looking to buy against, well, 40s where we are trading now. So 74.30s, 74.20s, 74.10s, these three levels. They start trading below the 74.10s. I'm back range bound, and I think they backed off this to way too much. So this could be a retest failure setting up at 74.50, or they could blow straight through it and we'll be back in stage one. I'm going to assume that it's going to fail. They're going to fail to take it out. And I'm not going to be betting too much on it. I'm going to be just looking for a potential short up there with a bit of caution. And if they do start taking that out, I'll just stay on the long side of that. Always when you're up here against new highs, you'll find, and you've seen it in the last few days, it doesn't just explode to the upside. You get a little bit of that, but most likely you get this grinding motion. It'll pop and then they grind and pull back a little bit. They'll grind back up again. They'll pop. So the market is fighting people trying to get short against it. That's kind of what that looks like. So, but if they take out this whole area, the 74.50s, and really start extending, then yeah, stay on the long side. Favor the long side at that point. And early on here, looking to buy against that 74.30s, 20s, 10s, rotations up. If they take out the 10s, we're back range bound. Still looking to buy all the way down here to that 73.60s again. You never know which one is going to hold, but it's just going to be less aggressive buying it if they take out that 74.10s. So that's how we get started. And let's see if the market is going to be in a good mood to take this higher, or if it's just turning into a retest and then we get another risk off day, because that can certainly happen. You have news coming out. On the Nasdaq was the one which just give you that was the one with the scared of Jesus out of you. You're looking at this thing here. They were up here at the 470s, and then you have one trading day to take it from the 440s all the way down here to the 28,700s. And that is like what? Say like 700 points to the downside and then straight back up again. Well, that's a 1,400 point swing on the Nasdaq. That is pretty crazy. That is pretty darn crazy. So no wonder we got that. It got volatile and things were moving around quite violently. I tried that trade you saw in yesterday. I tried one long trade on the Nasdaq, and I got in shitty trade location. I thought it was going to go, and it just teaches you that lesson over and over again. Go with type of trading, even if it looks good. It's just fraught with you have nowhere to go, and you just need a little sneeze on the Nasdaq to knock you out, which is exactly what happened. So you really want to just be patient. If you miss a breakout, then they keep going while you missed it. It's much better to try to get in on the pullback because most often you get that pullback. How big it is, you don't know. But if you're hell bent on getting long or short in a direction where the market is moving, always wait for that pullback. You give yourself a little bit better trade location. Note to myself, right? Note to myself. Give myself a little bit better trade location, and you don't have to trade with bigger stops or try to repair the trade right away. But anyway, so we are back up here. They didn't take out the highs in the day session highs, they closed a little bit lower than that. But the overnight did the job for them. They're right back up, took out the overnight, all the way back almost to the highs again. And London low down here at the 280. So right now, looking to buy against that 350s, the 280s, and down to the 220s. And for Nasdaq, I would give it those two levels too as well, the 180s and the 130s. All of them could be in play, but I would say below the 220s here, if they trade one level more below the London low, I would take off the long bias and go back more range bound. And then looking to buy still at the 170, 120s, 29,060 or 70s here for rotations up. If they start taking out the session lows, well, bets are off again. And then we are back potentially retracing here. I would stay on the short side at that point. So that's kind of what I'm starting on right now. Staying from favoring the long side, but we are still up here, potentially just retesting the highs, and then we'll see if they're going to try to take this higher after that. But it's could be a retest failure setting up. It could be a a breakout as well. It just depends. But we got that news in about 15 minutes, so we'll see how the market reacts to it. And potential short setups are going to be up here against that the 450s and the 480s rotations down. Just going to be a little bit less aggressive on it. I think the better short comes right here at the 480s at the very highest. Nice ledge right there. They could not take out that 470, 480 level. And that could potentially set up a short in a day session. But that would be a retest failure. And that if that holds, then we'll be right back down here building value. So we have a day cut off the buying, we have a day cut off the selling, and the range is pretty darn wide. So I think it's if they hold the highs here, we will be in stage 3 on the profile. Looking at our bonds, not going anywhere. That's a pretty slow market. I did the bond trade yesterday. That was a good setup. That was the kind of setup you're looking for, worth taking. I got 2 ticks out of that, and didn't do much about it since. I haven't really moved a whole lot. So the way this looks to me is like it's almost setting up for another leg lower. It's been building value towards the low, and the overnight hasn't done much to retrace anything. So I'm thinking maybe lower rates are coming here. So watch that 112 level, 112.05. That comes out, stay on the short side. Otherwise, I look to sell against the. I'm gonna have to look to sell against the 12.12, 12.16s up to that 12.22s. Those 3 levels. Above that, I'm taking off any long and any short bias and going back range bound. It could also hold here at the 12.06s, 5 to 6. And if that holds, we probably just stay in the range. But they take out that 12 or the 112.05 to 6. I would still look to buy against the 112s, but below that one, not so much. So it's a fairly tight range to work in. And the bond hasn't been moving a whole lot. When it moves pretty good, but it's not by any means any crazy moves. It is, however, though, drifting to the downside. So if you look at capital flow in this guy, it is still kind of drifting lower like this. So they're down here towards the lower end of the range. And we may see a challenge on that 112 level. See if they're going to take out the one, excuse me, 115, 16s and head lower or not. So it's going to be an interesting one, but definitely drifting lower. And we'll see how far they're going to take it. But potential short setup, potential breakout to the downside on the bonds. They've been drifting down here for quite a bit now. So there you go. On the crypto side, we did one trade on silver last night, a small winner. Up $10 on that one. That was over here. That was after they started taking out the lows. I got short against the rotation back up to the mean. Traded a little bit of heat. Had a nice rotation down. Got shaken out of that trade over here. And then missed the whole thing down. But that's moving. There was a pretty sloppy here in the middle. So not anything too bad missing that rotation down. But it's definitely that rotation. They looked like they were heading lower at a very pretty good clip, as you can tell. So they had this big move up, right? A lot of stalling going on during the day session, early overnight. Then they started retracing, and they have retraced a little bit more, but not enough. So that pretty much that retracing didn't go very far. But that's the only trade I took in overnight on crypto. This is a silver contract. All right. Nothing on Bitcoin and Ethereum. They're still flopping around the same. But it's funny. The interesting with silver, the silver contracts is that they trade almost follows the Nasdaq. It's pretty uncanny how that works. So if you look at how Nasdaq is trading, you can see how silver is pretty much following it. They start heading lower, silver is heading lower. Same story, and they're heading higher, silver is heading higher. So it's interesting. So you can. I'm trying to figure out which one leads which, but most likely silver is following the Nasdaq. But anyway, I'm watching it. So we're back to the ES and the Nasdaq right now, holding in kind of where we left it. We got news in about 10 minutes, so we'll get some coffee, get ready, and we'll get the day started. Ready, guys. See you back at 11:30. Later.